Assalamu alaikum. Marseille 1, Real Madrid 2, and what a game that is. Now, if you look at my face, I'm a little mad because I was in the middle of recording, but I forgot to press the record button, and now I have to restate all my points. Now, before I begin this video, I did want to mention about people's reaction to Real Madrid's performance. Now, first thing I want to say is this Real Madrid performance was not good. So don't say I'm trying to justify them. It's not good. But at the same time, the best teams in the world are not always dropping 10 out of 10 performances back-to-back games. For 82 games, you expect them to drop all those 10 out of 10 ratings, you know? I don't know why I say 82, but I'm exaggerating. No, that's not the case. Real Madrid had a bad day. It was a bad game. I'm not saying it was good for them, right? Because there's a lot of mistakes in this game. But what I'm trying to say is that stop trying to expect Real Madrid to drop 10 out of 10 performance every single time, because that's not what makes a team good, right? We learn from our mistakes. We have bad days. We move on, right? At the very least, we got the win, and I'm happy about that. So I don't know what's up with the Real Madrid fans trying to say, oh, Real Madrid did horrible, sell this player, bench this player. No, it was an off day for everybody, besides a couple of players, and I'm going to get into it. So, yeah, like I said, I just recently got back into football, and I don't know much about the Marseille players, but the one that scored for them was a person or a player from Brooklyn, New York, and I was born and raised in Brooklyn. I mean, not Brooklyn, but in New York, and crazy finish, and I did want to talk about, before I go to Real Madrid's penalties and goals and performance, Arda Güler, right? This game, he was not on point with like almost anything besides maybe his passing, right? His awareness was like, I think, the number one thing that let him down today. He was just not aware of his surroundings, and especially when he got the ball intercepted that led to us to concede the goal. So Arda Güler just had a bad day. This is not your typical Arda Güler performance, and I was upset watching the game when I was watching him play, but I had to remind myself it's an off day, right? It's not something that's consistent. I was upset about Carvajal though, and we're gonna talk about it. But yeah, so Arda Güler, bad awareness, and also Dean Huijsen. If he sees a player running from behind him and closing down Arda Güler, I don't know why he passed it to him. He passed it to him, and not only that, Dean Huijsen also decided to continue running past Arda. I think he was expecting Arda Güler to give him a little 1-2 pass, but Arda Güler didn't, and then the ball got stolen, and then he kind of had an open lane running down there, and we were 1-0, right? Before even that happened, we also saw what happened with Trent. I hope he recovers well. 4th minute into the game, and he already got subbed off. I believe he was injured, and we had Dani Carvajal come in, and Dani Carvajal did really good, but the only thing that made me mad was when he got the red card. And I'm not mad about like anybody. I'm mad at Carvajal for doing what he did. But before that, let's go step by step. So Marseille, right? They had the player from Brooklyn. I don't even know how to pronounce his name like that. But they had him. They had Greenwood, who played well. And they also had another third player, but I just don't know their names, so forgive me. I still need to increase my ball knowledge in the other areas, all right? But let's move on to Real Madrid. So obviously Real Madrid, 2 goals, 2 penalties. Second penalty controversial, and we're going to talk about that. But Mbappé was on point. Everybody was kind of not at their best, right? But Rodrigo, not a lot of people want to talk about Rodrigo's performance today, but Rodrigo was actually, in my opinion, the second person to win the man of the match, if it wasn't for Mbappé. Rodrigo had so many great chances that led to dangerous opportunities for Real Madrid. Now, I don't know if you guys realize how Rodrigo plays. He forces the defenders to move back, and that is something that not a lot of players could do. For example, look how they were guarding or defending Franco and Vinicius Jr. when he came on. They don't really back up when they are dribbling them, right? You see Franco, he lost the ball so many times to that left back. So, you know, Rodrigo doing that consistently, right? I'm not talking about once or twice. He was doing that consistently. Like, he was making the defenders move back with him as he was dribbling the ball and getting into the box with ease. Like, he was not struggling to get into that box. And you could tell how he won us that first penalty was getting into the box, and he got in there by himself. So Rodrigo needs to play more, whether it's on the right wing. I don't even care at this point, whether it's right wing or left wing. He has to play more. He can't just be a bench player. I really don't think he could be a bench player. If you're planning on rotating him, then yes, rotate him. But Rodrigo is a really good player, and today I think after Mbappe, he was the second best player on the pitch. And speaking about Mbappe, we know how he converted that penalty when Rodrigo won it. And I was a little nervous because of last season kind of like traumatized me. My memories came back. But we got to see Mbappe take that brilliant penalty. And I'm really happy that he is now confident taking those penalties that he usually takes. Now, before I move on to the second penalty, I did want to talk about the plenty of chances that these players missed. I'm talking about Franco missing maybe wide open shots, shooting it right directly at the goalie. I'm talking about Brahim Diaz when he missed that shot. I believe it was in the 70th minute where he shot it directly at the goalie. I'm not sure why they were shooting like that. Maybe it was an off day, like I said. However, we don't play like that, and we don't shoot like that. And before I pressed record, I told myself that professional ballers don't even shoot like that. I was going to say academy players, but not even that. I go play football every Fridays, and we don't even shoot like that directly at the goalie, right? So I'd rather like our players shoot like wide than shooting directly at the goalie, because the goalie is not going to be the one, unless it's like a bad goalie. They're not going to dive for no reason unless you fake it. But if you're shooting it directly at them, the goalies have good reflexes that they're not going to like just dive left, dive right, and hope for it to go down the middle. It's not a penalty. So Franco missed plenty of chances. Brahim Diaz, we had, I believe, Mbappe as well, where he kind of misplaced his foot when shooting. But I can't even speak bad about Mbappe. He saved us with his two brilliant penalties. And now let's talk about the second penalty, where a lot of people are trying to say that it was not a handball. And I could see both sides. I see it being a penalty, but I also see it not being a penalty. So let's talk about how it's not a penalty. People will say it's not a penalty because it's a supporting hand, and I agree. Sometimes when players go slide tackle, they use their supporting hand and hold the ground, right, while they're slide tackling to support themselves, right? They're not going to drop straight on their head or on their back to the ground, and I agree. However, this player did not do that. If you guys replay the way he slid in front of the ball, right? He got the ball, right? And if you look at his right hand was already down on the ground. He already had his supporting hand on the ground. Now, you might say, oh, he might need two hands on the ground to support himself. That's not the case, because when his right hand was down and he tried to go putting his left hand down, he didn't fully make it go down. He just lifted it back up. So if it was really going to be a supporting hand, he was going to like forcefully just place it on the ground. Like, you don't care that you hit the ball. Does that make sense? He, like, before he even like touched the ball, he went like that, touched the ball, then like automatically went right back up. So you can't say like, oh, he felt the ball, then he kind of like, he didn't want it to be a handball, so he lifted it back up. It was too quick. We saw it in slow motion. It was too quick for him to bring his hand up, right? For him to say, oh, I felt the ball. I think it was a penalty. The people who are saying it's not a penalty are just trying to find an excuse for it not to be a penalty, but you guys have to see it from how I explained it. But if I'm wrong, if you think that I'm still wrong after I explained it, leave in the comments below. I'll read it and we could have a chat. But other than that, great second penalty by Mbappe, and thank you for saving us, because if we drew against Marseille, bro, I don't know how I was going to react, honestly. So I'm happy. I'm happy that we got the draw, honestly. I mean, the win. I'm happy we got the win instead of a loss or a draw. All right, so what went well for Real Madrid is, I even took notes over here. I said that they found a way to win and holding themselves together with only 10 men, having a bad day, right? So you got to give them credit for that. Not every team could hold themselves together with 10 men and also having a bad day, where I'm talking about defensively. I'm talking about not being able to finish the shots. I'm talking about even their pressing looked a little sloppy. So credit to them, credit to Madrid. I'm proud of them for holding it together and getting away with a win. That was the main point that I wanted to mention, but also what went wrong for Real Madrid. I put that they were being wasteful of the opportunities, and I mentioned that earlier. The shots that were just looked sloppy, the passes And I mentioned them being naive with their passes, right? With the way they were pressing. If they saw one player not pressing, I'm going to be honest. If Mbappe saw somebody's not pressing on the left, he looked sloppy pressing up on top. That should not happen, right? I am a huge believer of lead with an example, and Mbappe should have done that, no matter what. If Vinny was not pressing, Mbappe, you should press. Even Vinny. If Mbappe was not pressing, Vinny, you have to keep pressing. Show and lead by example. All right. I also said what went wrong is that we only got our goals through penalties, which is a bad look. So I'm good friends with a Barcelona fan. Obviously, that gave him confidence after seeing this performance. So that was a bad look, only getting goals through penalties. It was rightful penalties, right? But we can't just win off of penalties. This is not what Real Madrid is known for. I mentioned Franco missing a sitter. Also, Carvajal's red. I forgot. I almost skipped that. Carvajal's red is one of the biggest mistakes he could have ever done. It's a red. It's 100% a red. I don't want to hear any Real Madrid say it's not a red. It is a red, whether he got close to Carvajal or not. Carvajal headbutted him. Not an excuse to do that, no matter what. So Carvajal, if I'm being honest, he has to go take some anger management classes because really, like, I don't get it, right? So first we had to worry about Vinicius and his temper control. Now we have to worry about Carvajal. However, like, I don't get these players that get mad because it's like rage baiting. They fall for the rage bait because they're trying to get something out of you. And they did. They got the red card out of our players, and specifically Carvajal this game. So I don't get why they fall for those rage baits. They fall for them to talk bad or whatever they were saying. I don't even know what he said to Carvajal for him to headbutt him, right? Carvajal practices MMA, so probably like that kicked in probably when he was training all those years. I don't know what it was. They got to stop. They got to control themselves. Stop falling for rage baits. If it's something bad, like if you want to go complain and yell at somebody, go to the referee. Obviously, don't headbutt the referee, but like go protest and say something that whatever happened, because now there's cameras, there's VAR. Like they're going to go and recheck. You know what I'm trying to say? So I don't get it. They got to just stop. Play the game and just no complaining. Don't fall for no rage bait because now the team is down by 10 men. The team is down 1 man, and now they got to play for survival instead of playing to keep scoring and widen the gap. My recommendations for Real Madrid, improve the finishing, man. Like, have drills dedicated to finishing because I don't know what that is. Have not even improving finishing when contested. All right. I don't know if they do that in trainings. I watched some of the Real Madrid training videos and they look more intense compared to last season, but I don't know if they contest those shots or they finish. They do finishing drills with contested, like, I don't even know how to speak. Like, contested finishing. That's what they got to work on. At number 2, I said discipline. Xabi Alonso got to scold his players. Yes, it was only Carvajal, but scold your players. Like, no more going up to people's faces and yelling at them, headbutting them, pushing them. Like, just let it go and go protest to the referee. That should be the lesson that everybody should learn after this game. Because now, next game, I don't know if you guys know, but I don't think we have a right back. Trent is most likely injured, and Carvajal is on a red. So now who's playing right back? Asensio? Like, do we really want him at right back? Like, come on. We're probably gonna play Valverde in the right back position, which sucks too because that is out of position for Valverde and Asensio. So I don't know. Like, that just puts us in a predicament now where now Xabi Alonso has to make a bold decision that could either make or break. I also said this because we have a lot of our defenders, Militao pushing up, even Dean Huijsen. We have our fullbacks always pushing up with the Xabi Alonso tactic. We got to continue pressing high, but we have to close down the counterattacks because if we don't do that, it leaves them wide open, right? We saw when Dean Huijsen trying to push up, that's how literally we conceded our first goal. So we got to be careful of that. The fullbacks, they push up, right? The defenders should stay more down. Yes, they should push more high. I mentioned this in my last video. I said they should push more high to make passes, but not to make runs into the box, not to make runs deep into the midfield, because now we lack a player in the back, and that opens up opportunities for the team to counter, and we have to avoid that as much as possible. Real Madrid did good with pressing. We won the ball a lot through pressing, and I think Real Madrid should continue pressing and continue that high intensity. So that's my 3. No, I believe I mentioned 4. Those are my 4, I guess, points or tips that Real Madrid should do in order to improve for their next game. My man of the match goes to Mbappe, but like I said, if I had to give it to another player, Rodrigo deserves it. Rodrigo should play more. Xabi Alonso should make Rodrigo play, not just as a bench player, but he should also be starting for some of the matches. But not only some, he should play. I think it should be like 2 games Vinny starts, then Rodrigo starts if he wants to keep him at the left wing. If not, try him back at the right wing position and try and see and test it out, right? Obviously, in this game, I think he could have tested it out. I don't know why Vinny was benched, but I think it would have been nice if Rodrigo on the right, Vinny on the left, because Rodrigo's good at pressing as well. Now Vinny pressing as well, and Mbappe's pressing as well. I think it gives us hope to maybe a new Real Madrid. So I don't know though. Xabi Alonso knows why he keeps he keeps Rodrigo on the bench. But let me know what you guys think about Rodrigo, Carvajal's red card. Do you even think that was a penalty for the second handball? Let me know what you guys think about everything. Let me know what you think about Real Madrid's performance. Do you guys think that Real Madrid deserved this win? Did they not? In my opinion, they had a bad day. Did they deserve to win? Hala Madrid y nada más. They always deserve the win. And until then, Assalamu alaikum.